because to us, we just love business. We love the hustle of it, the game of it. And Amazon is kind of the central core that ties all that together. But we're really trying to continue to branch out into building the brands. Hey, welcome back to the Amazing Freedom Amazon Seller Podcast. All kinds of stuff going on. Definitely feeling a little bit overwhelmed this time of the year, but lots of good stuff whenever we're kicking off a new quarter and a new year, especially just tons of activity like we talked about last week. And so I'm excited to update on some of what we feel are the most important things that are going on in both our private label brands that we are building and the arbitrage business that we're trying to continue to give updates on a weekly basis. Let's start with the brands, Andy. So much going on there, and a couple major wins just in this last week that we were able to pull in, thankfully. So walk us through kind of what you're seeing building our brand, and maybe, again, we'll talk about why we feel it's so important to be brand builders, not just kind of widget sellers, but really work towards a real quote unquote brand.
Yeah. So if you've been following us at all, you know that or late in 2022, we were able to acquire another brand from an aggregator who was basically culling off some brands that they feel like weren't as profitable. And so if you sell on Amazon at all, you've been in business, you know that a lot of times 20% of your products can drive 80% of your revenue. Well, this aggregator had about 33 brands that they had acquired in the last 2 years. And they were basically looking to shed some brands to kind of become leaner and meaner. And so thankfully, just through some relationships that we've garnered over the years, received a call. And we think that we got a really good deal on this brand. So we actually bought it basically for the liquidation of the inventory. We agreed to a deal that whatever the profit is that we have on this brand over 2023, we are going to split that profit 50% with the aggregator, which we're fine with because we think that this brand has a lot of potential. Just since we've acquired it, we've already grown it. Nate, I think sales are up about 20% month over month. Is that right?
I'm not sure, but the aggregator had basically shut off like all their PPC the month or two before because they were just trying to stop some of the bad mistakes that they had made, like losing money. And so, yeah, I feel very good. We did have to incur a couple big expenses to transfer the inventory from their 3PL to our warehouse. That was probably the biggest challenge or expense, really. It was just a money problems, basically. And yeah, sales are looking really good. In fact, so good that our biggest problem right now is how are we going to get enough in order placed soon enough to not go out of stock on some of the best selling SKUs. So overall, I think really happy with this purchase decision.
Yeah. And a lesson, from that aggregator, some people might hear that and they might think, the aggregator is not operating very well. That's not necessarily true. They grew extremely fast. They have done a really good job. They have some amazing brands. And if you're an Amazon seller on a micro level, you'll see in your account as your SKUs continue to grow, you are going to have some that break even. You're going to have some that lose, right? And the job that we have is to pour gas on the ones that are doing really well and that are bringing us profit. And then to really be able to weed through the account and see the losers, and then decipher that data to make better buying decisions in the future. So we've actually been doing that in the arbitrage account that we took over. So this account, the revenue is really good, but we've realized now, hey, look, we need to take some time and really comb through the data of our past buys and try to figure out like what are some good systems and buying criteria that we can put in place so that we have more winners and less losers. And, as a business person, again, whether you have a localized business like a landscaping company, I mean, those are all things that you have to do on a quarterly or a monthly basis to try to maximize your profit. And so, if you're not doing that, a lot of times businesses can get on a hamster wheel. Amazon sellers definitely can. And you really need to take time and pause to make sure that you're pouring gas on your winners and then that you are shedding your losers. And I think that that's what this aggregator did. They realized, hey, look, we have a lot of these winners that are, giving us 40, 50% net profit. And then we have some brands that are only doing 15 or 20%. Let's try to get rid of the ones that we are focusing attention on. There's a limited amount of attention, and let's put it on those. Would you agree with that, Nate?
Yeah, 100%. And I want to use what you said to kind of transition to just something I've been thinking on a lot this past week. And that's just using your resources when you do find those winners. Like you said, Andy, our job is to double down on them to add fuel to the fire. One mistake that we made at different points of our Amazon selling career so far is not taking some of the profits that we've earned and using those to reinvest the dollars truly into the brand building itself part of the business. So a lot of times we'll just take those dollars and we'll just go after the next product, and we'll kind of do the easy, what we already know, the easy next step, which is just like find more products, kind of go wide and cast our net wide, where we've made some mistakes where we didn't take those dollars and make the hard decisions to really invest in the brand. And I'll give some specific examples. We both said we wish we would have a couple of years ago taken some of our profits and invested in hiring out a true like professional agency to develop a really good website for our brand. So we've had website challenges over the past couple of years just because neither of our forte is website building or development or even overseeing someone, managing someone who does that. And we're finally kind of getting that right, but we probably should have done that 2 years ago. So that would have helped our brand because it's not Amazon, it's off Amazon. It's something that Amazon customers or non-Amazon customers will go to. Your website really represents who you are as a brand a lot of times, right? So we wish we would have done that. A different area that we have put a lot of energy and time into is our social media, right? So I feel like we have done a good job on that over the past year or two. And I think you would agree, Andy, we're really seeing dividends from that now. It's really paying off big. A lot of our feedback for new products. It's so much easier to launch new products on Amazon now because we have this community that we can kind of, that will get behind us and support it pretty quickly. So that's a kind of quote unquote, again, real brand building activity that I think we have done good on. The website, we kind of didn't do as good. I wish we would have. And something else that we've spent some money on now recently is working with another agency that's branding experts. So some people are just naturally good at this. Like you really have an eye for how to create good branding and packaging and logo and color scheme, all that kind of stuff. We're not the best at it. And so we've gotten by doing pretty good, but now we're taking it to the next level. So I feel like all these things have really added up for us over the last few months. They're definitely long-term investments, but I think what happens here, including us, is most Amazon sellers tend to get the wins and then they kind of stop short of going to the next level. They're and again, this was totally us. Like you see success on Amazon, so instead of trying to take it to the next level by getting the omni approach of your website and your social and your branding, your packaging, and maybe even off Amazon advertising, like hiring the right people to understand that, we've fallen short. So we're trying to be smarter about that. We're trying to make sure that the equity in our brand really goes for the long term. Andy, I think we saw a result of that in the past couple of weeks. Steve's been working with a US company that now wants to be that essentially wants to kind of like white label distribute some of our products through their business that could potentially lead to, we're very close to a deal that could be worth several $100,000s per year if this goes through. I feel like that only happened because of the brand building efforts that we have done. There's still a lot of more work that we have to do. So I wanted you to talk to kind of one of the wins we had this past week and the process that went into all of that in this distributor.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we've built a really good quality team and we continue to add team members. One of the things I think you and I recognized early on when our sales really exploded past that 5 million mark was that we were losing opportunities because we had a limited amount of time. And so we had to add team members. And so when we begin to add Steve, he is just phenomenal at connecting with other folks that are in our industry around our brand. And he was able to do that with a company that is looking for a manufacturer of products that are similar to ours. And so, Steve was able to kind of build a relationship with them. And now we're really, just inches away from inking a deal where we will primarily be their manufacturer for this product. Like you said, that will be a deal in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and potentially even more. My takeaway from that again is, when you do get to that level where you have to build a team, recognize you have limited amount of time, because I don't know if you or I, number one, I don't think it's necessarily our skill set, or I don't think that you or I would have had the time, right, to kind of do the relationship building that Steve has done with this company. So that's definitely exciting. It's taken us in a new direction. We've always just manufactured for ourselves. So I'm sure there's going to be challenges along the way, but also, I think it just has a lot of upside of being able to work with this company and really being their primary manufacturer.
Yeah, and one of the important things to do this was just to continue to develop the relationships with our own suppliers. We talked a lot about that last week, how important it is to have that. And a key thing here was just negotiating with our manufacturers that we work with to be able to support what you just said. This is going to be a new experience. And I know one of the challenges that you've talked about a lot before, and I think you mentioned it last week, is oftentimes, no matter who you're talking with, I guess on arbitrage, it could be a store manager through brand, private label branding. It could be your manufacturer or some type of retailer you want to get in with. Oftentimes you're going to be told no before you get told yes. Maybe just walk through, a win that I guess your experience of dealing with manufacturers, especially in China or really any manufacturer, and how you have to oftentimes not give up in the process of ultimately coming to a good conclusion.
Yeah, so our main issue that we had working with this manufacturer, who we've worked with now for 4 years, was we wanted an exclusive to the product that we're going to be producing for this other company. And a lot of times, Asian manufacturers are very hesitant to give an exclusive because it really boxes them in. Thankfully, because we've had a history of working with them, I was able to kind of go back and forth with my sales rep, who then would have to go to her boss. So I got probably 4 no's, and every no was like a final no. Their requirement was that basically we had to order 6 containers every year, and that was the only way they're going to give us an exclusive. Well, there's no way that we could agree to that, because with this product, we don't know yet how many containers it's going to sell. And so the way that I've negotiated with them, I always just try to be as honest and upfront and transparent as possible to let them know what our intentions are. And, thankfully, after about the 4th no, I again tried, and this is all in WeChat. I said, please, I don't think you're understanding the situation. Let me try to help you understand. And so I was able to break it down again, kind of like what we were doing and the expectations, and then allowing them as well to know that, look, if you don't make this happen, you are going to receive 0 orders from us. And if you make it happen, I can guarantee you're going to receive 1 container, and potentially by the end of 2 or 3 years, we might be ordering 4 or 5 containers of this product. And so through that kind of negotiation back and forth, she eventually was able to convince her boss to give us an exclusive on this product. But it was not without effort. It was not without history, with the supplier. And so for those of you that may listen to this, if you're new to importing or working with a supplier, most suppliers will not do that right from the beginning. However, after you've worked with them for a little bit, you can go approach them. And as long as you have good reasons why, they should be open to potentially giving you exclusive on whatever you're buying from them.
Yeah, I just love that so much. I do a lot of reading, a lot of biography readings, and I feel like so many success stories in hindsight that you read about have similar scenarios throughout their careers, where it's like, where everybody else would have gave up on no number 3, you got to push through to that number 5 request before you get it. And, I think it comes down to that kind of like grit characteristic that I'm sure everybody listening, every Amazon seller has to a good degree. And just, I guess, a reminder for me to try to keep doing that in whatever area it is you're trying to push forward on. On that note, Andy, one of the things I know you're the most excited about as we head into this year is you've been doing more arbitrage, you've been doing more shopping, and you're actually looking at online arbitrage and super excited about the Amazon Seller Tribe lists that are going out. Walk me through kind of like what you're seeing as the biggest benefits there and OA in general as an industry for most people right now.
Yes, when I first started selling on Amazon, the way that I learned how to purchase profitable products was by subscribing to lists. And if you're listening to this, you might say, well, what's a list? A list is an email that is sent out Monday through Friday that has a number of leads where you can buy products at a big box store like a Walmart and then resell those products on Amazon for profit. Again, early on, one of my first lists that I subscribed to was a gentleman who was kind of a pioneer in the Amazon reseller space. His name was Jordan Malik. Unfortunately, I think Jordan passed away. But early on in the Amazon space, he provided a number of really good profitable lists. And one of my first really big buys, I still remember it, on one of his lists, they were Frozen flip-flops. So you know the Disney movie Frozen, the original one came out. It was a massive hit. And I saw these Disney flip-flops. You could buy them from the Disney store. I purchased $5,000 of my cost of these flip-flops, and I netted over $7,000 from these flip-flops. Again, just ordering them from Disney. They shipped to my house. I repackage them, send them into Amazon. And so that is the power of the list. That's what we do. We actually provide a list for hundreds of Amazon sellers. Actually, not just one, there's 15 lists. And as I've dived back into arbitrage, I've dived back into the list that we provide, and I'm still blown away that even 10 years later, you can still buy profitable products at these stores. And remember, with the internet now, there are literally thousands of other online stores that offer products, and those same products are sold on Amazon. So it's the age-old theory: you buy low, you sell high. And how do you systematize that? So I'm actually excited because I'm diving back into the list, and I'm going to be sharing on my Facebook story. I'm going to be doing Facebook Lives on my personal wall. And I want to show people, again, who are interested in building, whether it's a side income on Amazon, or if you want to start as a side and then turn it into a full-time, just like you and I did. This, I think, is the perfect way to get into selling on Amazon, by buying from these online stores and then reselling these products on Amazon. And so I'm pumped to be able to show folks. I'm actually going to screen share, Nate, like the exact buys. So I'm having our team dedicate a list specifically to me. So this list is not going to be shared with any of our current lists that our current members buy from. But I just want to be able to show folks, again, who want to create a great side hustle or want to learn how to sell on Amazon, that you can purchase products from this list and resell them on Amazon for major profit. So I look forward to doing that in the coming days and coming weeks.
Yeah, back in 2014, when I first started selling, list and flip groups were how I basically found all of my leads, just like your Frozen flip-flops. I had tons of Frozen finds in 2014 as well. And it was all through online lists or through flip groups, which are basically we're just like a Facebook version of a list. It was just like more of a real-time thing. And one thing to note is all lists are definitely not created equal. The tribe lists have a max of 30 people per list, which is super important. Some lists go all the way up to 50 or 100 people even that can see the same finds. And so that's really important, right? Like how many people are seeing the list, what the BSR is of the products on the list, how many leads you're getting per list. So all of those things, you can actually, if you go to amazingfreedom.com/lists, that's LISTS, you can see what's involved with the tribe list compared to other ones and how to get signed up for that. And when you sign up for that, you also get access for free into the tribe Facebook group that we've often talked about. So that's really good. Now, I will say on that, like lists they're not hard by any means, but you definitely have to know a little bit what you're doing. And most of the time it just takes practice. I know, Andy, I've heard you say a lot of times the way you looked at lists was as long as you could find like 1 or 2 finds a month that basically made up the cost of your list, like you were happy. Like in the case of that Frozen flip-flop thing, like you didn't need to buy every day. All you needed was that one find that made up for probably the entire year worth of lists, if not more. And so I think that's one way to think about it. But then just learning about it, again, you'll get into the tribe group, which is a super good place. But also talk to me about Gary's tribe coaching. Going to be releasing another coaching program. Definitely the best way. Gary shows proof of concept with his own account. So walk us through, like, if someone is looking on how to actually utilize the list to its full potential, why this might be the right time for them to look at that.
Yeah. So Gary, our partner who does coaching, that is coming up. He did 2.8 million last year, and 99% of his buys are from lists. And very profitable. Gary is the only one I know. In his coaching, he opens up his account so you can see like right into his inventory lab that shows his accounting. And he goes through and he shows products that he's purchased, and he shows the net profit on those products. And then he shows the bottom line, how much he's made at the end of the month and at the end of the quarter, which is just a phenomenal way, again, to learn. Unfortunately, a lot of folks in the Amazon seller space, there's not a lot of transparency or a lot of vulnerability, which is, again, is why I say I'm so thrilled that we partner with Gary and with Gay, who both open up their accounts, because that is the best way to learn. You want to learn from someone who is actually doing it, who has boots on the ground, and who is vulnerable, and who is actually doing what they are teaching. And so, he just is a phenomenal, like you said, proof of concept that purchasing from lists can be a very profitable business.
Yeah. So as we get through this year, our goal is we haven't set, again, an official challenge or goal for ourselves, but as we look at kind of our forecasts of each of these businesses now, again, Andy and I have said this for a while, we're just lovers of all things Amazon and e-commerce at this point. I think, and that's why we love to talk about building our brand, talk about arbitrage, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, because to us, we just love business. We love the hustle of it, the game of it. And Amazon is kind of the central core that ties all that together. But we're really trying to continue to branch out into building the brands, getting all this together and shooting for, between these businesses, somewhere in the range of 15 to 18 million in sales this year between the combined businesses. And that's really what we're trying to do. Just keep stacking on the right businesses that will get us towards what we continue to feel is one of the best business opportunities out there, selling online, selling on Amazon, just leveraging the power of these e-commerce platforms that we have available to us. Going to continue to try to make Shopify a bigger and bigger part of that. And so all things around this is our aim. And hopefully as you come back and listen to this each week, you'll pick up something else that will help you on your online seller journey as well. So we'll catch you next time on the next episode of the Amazing Freedom Amazon Seller Podcast. See ya.